This is so exciting because today we're here with Aleisa Craig. She's my famous friend. Her story is going pretty live with a lot of people because she's very loud in her faith, and we love that. Lyle and Aleisa and the kids graduated from our ministry on March 28th of 2021, and their story is so beautiful, and Aleisa is going to bless us with parts of it that some people may not have heard. Describe to me what it looked like a year before you came to finding the family.
Well, it was sad. It was awful. And lonely. Very, very suicidal. It was just not good. Not at all. Nothing about it was good. Not even nothing. There was no good about our life.
Trying to be a mom, and
I wasn't even a mom. Yeah.
And because a lot of people may not know that you were addicted to drugs. So tell me what the onset of you diving back into drugs again, because you dabbled in it for most of your adult life. So
my dad dying. I didn't know how to cope with that pain. I didn't have the tools, and I didn't have God in my life to take that from me. But as soon as I got God in my life, that's when that pain went away.
And that's going to be a part of our story very soon. So what happened that made you even want to turn your life over to the Lord, or come to finding the family, or make a change in your life? What was the breaking point?
Well, honestly, and a lot of people know this, it wasn't. I didn't really want to go. I didn't want to stop doing drugs.
Kicking and screaming all the way.
And my husband was the one that made that call, and he's the one that, and something inside me just said, do it, just go ahead and do it. And I didn't want to, but it wasn't until I was in your house, and then I was like, okay, this is it, it's all or nothing.
What was the moment that you knew you had to do something different in your life?
Well, I had nothing. I didn't have my children. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have family.
Why didn't you have your children?
They were taken from my home because my son was born with meth in his system because I used through my whole pregnancy. And so they took him, and then they took the other two too, which was very hard.
What did it feel like when you had to call the foster mom the first time? What was it like? Did you ask her to take her children? Did you?
Well, I asked a friend that went to the same church as her, and but I did have to. She told me, you need to call her. You need to set that time up to do that. And it was really hard because I didn't want to look like a bad person. I didn't want to look like a bad mom, but I was already a bad mom, so it was really hard for me to even pick up that phone. I think it took the whole day, I think, before I finally was like, okay, I have to call her, otherwise they're going to put into the system. And it was just been really hard for that. It was 10 times worse for them, but it was hard.
What was Kristen Hensley, as foster mom, what was the conversation like with her?
We laughed and we cried at the same time. I just told her, listen, you won't regret this. I got 3 beautiful babies, 2 children, 2 older ones that you're gonna love. They're amazing. They're awesome kids.
For a lot of people who don't know, I'm probably gonna need a tissue. This is such a touching story, because I think that sometimes people think that when kids are taken out of the home and they're put in foster care, it's all about the kids are in a safe place now, and then those poor adults need to go and get their life together, and they need to do the right things in order to get their kids back.
It needs to be done together.
And man, that's
because
what we saw.
A lot of times families won't do that. They don't. It'll just happen again, and it'll happen again, and it'll happen again.
So the next question is this. I know that I always say that you're an anomaly. You're not normal. The Craig family, they're not normal in a lot of wonderful ways. And but it was very special to see what happened between you and Lyle and the Foster family.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you feel comfortable to be around them?
Well, I'd never been in that situation before.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that was new. But I'm just different.
Mhm.
I don't like to, and I just don't have a mean bone in my body. And there was a lot of times where I would be off in my own little drug-induced world, and I would not speak to her, and I could just see it all over her, like, what did I do? Why are you not talking to me? And it had nothing to do. It was the inner demons that I was fighting, and then so sometimes I would pull her aside and say, hey, I'm so sorry that my struggle is wearing off on you, and so.
I loved when you came to Finding the Family and kicking and screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you stayed, and it was awesome. You had a call with the kids every day, a FaceTime call with the kids every day.
Which was very fun and difficult at the same time.
Fun and difficult for Aleisa especially. Aleisa has clinical ADHD, and we really worked around that because it was really hard for her to focus, but she wanted to show the kids the chickens and the creek. And
the dogs.
The dogs.
Yeah.
And they brought such life to the ministry. Aleisa taught my chickens how to jump for food.
Yeah, true story.
And she said, I don't know why they keep coming up to the patio, and I caught her feeding them from her front door one day. So,
but that's something that is just the most oddest, randomest thing is when I see or when I visualize God's love and protection, I think of a chicken and just those protecting wings and
you
running
love
under
our
the,
chickens.
yes.
She's gonna get a chicken tattoo on her thigh. It's gonna be a chicken thigh.
Yeah. Or right here, one.
Or right there. But you and Lyle really, it was in the middle of COVID, and that was odd in itself. You couldn't get jobs immediately. Everything was kind of different during that year. But what did it feel?
First for all of us.
Yeah, it really was. What did it feel like when the kids got to come for the first time for good? Because they visited, but when they came for good.
It was difficult. Just because, like, it's kind of bittersweet. I remember telling you guys, Lyle and I kept telling you guys, our children are perfect. They're the best in the whole wide world. They don't do anything, and then they come and they've got lasting, effects from the damage that we did to them, so they were breaking things and, throwing fits and I didn't know how to react to any of that. I was just like,
They were perfect.
Yeah, they are perfect. And so that was really hard, but Kristen wrote me a book, and she said, hey, Bentley does this at this time. She wrote me a schedule, and I asked her to do that, and she'd say, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but this is just because she had Bentley from the time he was 5 days old, so that was his mommy. It's what he knew. Yeah. And she was very protective of him, very, very, all of them were, and so, but she said, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but if you want to know what he likes, and I was like, absolutely, yes, I have no idea what this child likes, I don't know, so I had to learn that at 9 months, 8 months old, what he liked, and, so.
You tell Mia, I probably call in too. You tell Mia something before she goes to school every day.
Yeah, be like Jesus.
Be like Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And what does she know that means?
So she asked me after a couple months of saying it. She finally was like, "What does that mean? Why do you keep saying that to me, Mom?" But I tell my children that because I want them to be the example.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus was. I want them to set the example, be the example, and so, and she knows, they know that. They know that.
So I asked you the question, before we came in here to take this, I asked you what it means to consecrate yourself. And so after you kind of thought about it for a minute.
My family was set aside for a bigger purpose, which we all have a purpose, but I feel like we have a hand of protection on us.
Yeah.
And that's why I want them to know, Lyle calls me a fun sucker, but that's why I want them to know what Easter means, and that's why I want them to know, not that we want to take the fun out of it, because they get the candy because we get to celebrate what happened on that day. They get to have the presents because we get to celebrate that. And so.
Yeah. I'm going to tell funny stories about Aleisa. She catches every wild creature. She's like a Disney, we called her our Disney princess.
And I'll kiss them too.
She kisses them. It's crazy. So we were up at the calf barn, and I literally looked over. She said, "Look, Deborah," and she had it was a barn rat. She picked up. Its body was that big. She picked it up. And
teeth were hanging out.
And I sternly told her to drop the rat, and it bit you, didn't it?
On the glove, though.
Because you're not supposed to pick up rats.
Do you remember the time that the bunny rabbits were sneaking under your house?
Yes.
And so
we were gonna poison them.
Yeah. So I set a log trap out, but Lyle and I and you walked out at your back porch, and there was a group of bunnies back there, and I was pretending to sing to them, and they kept hopping towards me.
It's very odd. She put them. She wanted to protect them, and she put them in a box. And dogs got into the box, and she blamed me. Yeah. We've had so much fun. If we treat finding a family, specifically like a program, then our families lose the safety and the love and structure of a family. But if we treat it solely like family only, like we're all just out there just being one big family, then you lose the safety and structure of the program, and it's a compilation of the two. Yeah. And whenever you have that interwoven together, then that's what makes it unique. And I mean, we always say we live in a glass house. We're always, we're cooking supper together. Their kids are coming up and asking for treats when they're not supposed to have treats.
I think sometimes that the way that you guys loved Lyle and I helped us make some of the decisions, because we knew that we'd be hurting a lot more people, actually hurting you guys instead of just hurting ourselves and our family and our our kids. We're hurting other people that love us, and so that was a huge deal too.
We do love you guys, and
all the families.
We love every family that has ever been out there. We have one young lady who left and ended up overdosing, and she is gone now. And I have a million crazy, fun, awesome stories because she became like a daughter to me and to my husband. And so each person, it doesn't matter what personality, I mean, y'all have to put up with me. So, it's really awesome to get to know each person on their own level. We're learning also that everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. We used to have to threaten you to write in your journal.
Yeah. Or work. Because I'd be off, catching butterflies.
Catching butterflies. Or
leaving all the work to my husband. Aleisa.
So we have a lot of fun out there. You've been gone now from the ministry for a month and a half, almost 2 months, almost 2 full months. And do you continue doing any of the same things that we taught you at Finding a Family?
Yes. She came into my house the other day, and I was showing her all my decorations, and I was like, I didn't want to open my bedroom door because my bed wasn't made, and I was like, "Listen, I feel like a dog that wet on the floor, you know, like I feel don't look over there."
And the house was beautiful, and
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
I felt your love in the home, and I felt the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit in your home. So,
Good.
So we're very structured at Finding the Family as far as, you know, can't do drugs and can't smoke and can't, you know, there's things that you can't do. We're a recovery ministry, but tell me what grace means to you.
There's consequences to everything that we do.
Whether good or bad.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
consequences.
yeah, and just grace is no matter what, you keep coming back, and He's gonna love you. And as a Christian, we're gonna love each other, regardless.
So, did all the rules bring you to Jesus?
No. No, I was a rule breaker. Not necessarily in a bad way, but I mean.
Yeah. It is His loving kindness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If anybody can get that, watch Aleisa. It's His loving kindness written all over you. Thank you for coming and doing this with me. I love you.
Love you.
Many parents who struggle with drugs and alcohol come to a breaking point when they realize what it's done to their kids. So we offer a 1-year program that helps these families hit the reset button. And you overcome the addiction by allowing God to restore you and your families. That's how you overcome the addiction, isn't it, Aleisa?
Yeah, absolutely.